Human beings have the unique ability to tell each other stories. Our ancestors used to tell stories verbally. Like magic, the images associated with these stories would be conjured in your mind. Over time, our magic changed and developed and has taken on many forms. Our magic is so advanced now that we can conjure a story in all manner of different ways. These conduits of storytelling magic are called mediums. Each one of us has interacted with all kinds of mediums and experienced their magic for ourselves. But the strongest magic, the best stories, are attuned to their medium. Another way to think of it is, if art is the magic, then the medium is the talisman used to conjure the magic. There are a lot of reasons why the best stories are the best. It comes down to the creators and their individual skill, of course, but across every type of story, the way it's told is just as important as the story itself. Across every type of story, the best of the best stand out as the pinnacles of their respective mediums, and I have a few examples that prove this point. But first, I think I need to add a disclaimer. These might not be your favorites. Most of the time, they aren't even my favorites. But each of these examples have definitely earned their spot in the conversation for being the best. We want this to be a conversation with you guys, so if you agree or disagree, tell us why. And if you have any better examples, drop them below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, but only if you enjoy it. There's a lot that goes into being the best. But commonly, for example, the best films are the best films. They get the most out of the fact that it is a film. That has been true since the beginning of moving pictures. Every technique was new and interesting and boundary pushing. So over time, the argument for best movie ever has changed as new movies and new techniques that push the medium were invented. Obviously, movies were taking a lot from theatre, even before sound was added. So at first, especially considering the flat stage-like shot compositions, there wasn't a lot to distinguish between those mediums. But in a way, the world was united over this new beautiful thing called film. The French invented it. The Russians created a lot of the editing techniques that we still use today, and the Germans pushed us out of the restrictive limits of stage theatre. In 1941, out of America, the quote-unquote greatest film of all time came out. It held this reputation for a long time. Some still regard it as the best. I am of course referring to Orson Welles' Citizen Kane. If you go back and watch this movie, it isn't exactly pioneering anything, but its craft is well thought out and well executed. That doesn't quite do it justice though. Lots of movies, even at the time, were well thought out, but consider just how it's using its medium. Take shots like this, the use of prosthetic makeup, and the use of music. All of these seamlessly aid the story and the experience, and most importantly, these are features that, when put together, harmonize uniquely to make an excellent film. But each film is an iteration of the previous, and so as technologies grow, as artists push boundaries, we get new exciting works of art, and I think that certainly showed when Star Wars came out. I won't talk about it for too long because everyone knows everything about Star Wars, but it's an important piece of film history. Again, Star Wars is a creation that could only rarely have its full potential revealed as a film. As breakthroughs in technology become less and less impressive, and are now actually regressive, but we'll get back to that, it becomes harder to break new ground in this incredible medium and beat out the best films that came before. So think about that and keep that thought in your back pocket for now. But you may be saying to yourself, Star Wars succeeds in the comic book medium, and you'd be right. There is no budget to consider, no effects to figure out, because in comics we can draw whatever we want. But Star Wars doesn't work just because of the words or the shot compositions or the effects. It works because of those things moving in tandem with perfect editing and perfect music as well. It also works because of the collaborative nature of film. It works because of actors and their voices and their rearranging of the written script. It works because of Marcia Lucas, who made the story thrilling instead of plodding. So comics do share a lot in common with films, but to understand why a movie doesn't necessarily work as a comic, and a comic doesn't necessarily work as a movie, we also need to look at one of the greatest comic books of all time. The only comic to win a Hugo Award, Watchmen, is something so unique to the medium that the more you think about it, the more incredible it becomes. It might not be your favorite comic, it isn't even a great place to start reading comics, and you might be the kind of person that prefers the movie, but Watchmen absolutely has to be in the conversation for the greatest comic of all time. I mentioned the movie adaptation because it's important to illustrate exactly how Watchmen is cemented in its medium. After all, it has been called unadaptable. Take a look at this shot. They look almost identical, right? So has the same effect been achieved in both mediums? No, absolutely not. While movies benefit from editing, music, and movement, comic books exist on the printed page. There is so much you can do with the medium of comics. Artist Dave Gibbons used a 9-panel layout to keep an even pacing throughout the comic, with a few rare large panels for impact. The sense of time in a comic book is different than in a movie. When we look at a comic, we see everything at the same time and go through panel by panel. It is an extremely difficult thing to manage in order to not only make it satisfying for the reader. For example, you don't want to feel like the impact panel is spoiling the rest of the page, and it also needs to be thematically relevant. Time is an important theme in Watchmen. The even panels almost work as the hands of a clock counting down, with full pages acting like the gong of a clock as it strikes an important hour. This also gives the reader a bit of insight into how Dr. Manhattan might perceive time. We can see the first panel and the last panel at the same time. We see all time, at least on this page, at the same time. This is something that can only be done in a comprehensible way as a comic. We see comics and movies interacting a lot as movies adapt comic material, but lately video games are getting adapted too. Unfortunately, a lot of the time this results in blockbuster games getting adapted as streaming shows, which doesn't feel like they set up to get an honest adaptation. Does God of War, a game that looks like this, really deserve the streaming treatment? I mean, sometimes it works out. People seem to enjoy the Fallout show, but how many of these game adaptations are going to get the Halo treatment? Anyway, that's skirting around the point. With an adaptation, you're inevitably going to cut out what usually makes games popular in the first place: gameplay. I know games are fun for a lot of reasons, and PlayStation in particular has done a great job of embracing the storytelling of games. The only problem is, even in a cutscene heavy game that already feels very cinematic like 2018's God of War, we still get moments where things change for the character and therefore change for the player. Yeah, when Kratos gets the Blades of Chaos in the show, it could do a great job of showing us that Kratos is different and more powerful, but there's no way it can live up to the game. Because in the game, after playing as Kratos for like 6 hours or something, you suddenly feel more powerful. You feel different. But that's one instance where God of War uses the medium really well. But I still don't think it's the best use of the medium. After all, they're still trying to replicate a cinematic experience. The true test of a video game's quality is how the developers interpret the idea of player control. Like anything, the game that interprets player control the best is extremely subjective. From Software's games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring thrive as video games. Your character build, your upgrades, your weapon, the way you fight, these are all up to you. If you beat a FromSoft game, you didn't just complete the story like you would in Uncharted, for example. No, that makes it sound inevitable. Beating a FromSoft game is never inevitable. Most people that buy them never beat them. So when these games come to an end, that victory didn't just come as a result of you going through the game. No, you truly beat the game. It's a feeling that you may not understand until you've done it. And that's why I think Elden Ring in particular makes the best use of the features of the video game medium. Elden Ring is the greatest game of all time. Yeah, hot take, I know. But if you've played Elden Ring, consider in your mind what you think an Elden Ring movie will be like. It can never live up to your playthrough of Elden Ring. Yeah, it might have the same story beats and the same characters and the same world, but it doesn't have that particular move that you did on that boss. It doesn't have your armor set. It doesn't have the character that you made. These things can't be translated to another medium. They are so entrenched in the video game medium. But if the format of TV shows seems to strip all the magic out of video games, what magic does TV have on its own? Who uses the format best and why? And how is it different from movies when it shares all of the same elements? Well, I don't watch a lot of TV, and I think my answer will be generic and maybe a little outdated. But the TV medium has changed a lot as it went from allotted airtime to binging on streaming, then to mixing the two and having weekly releases on streaming. The best TV shows would use the lengthened episodic nature of TV to its fullest potential. Seasons also don't work the same as sequels do for movies. So I think the best way a TV show can make use of its medium is by using episodes as a key part of how it tells its story. Similar to how comics use panels and video games use gameplay, TV shows have the most work to do to justify their chosen medium. I know I might sound crazy, but most TV shows could have been a movie. Very rarely does the progress of a story from episode to episode and season to season justify itself in the end. Two shows come to mind as benefiting from their medium and using their medium well, that being BoJack Horseman and Breaking Bad, because they both track the rise and fall of their protagonists in a way that I feel can only be achieved as a series. But like I said, I don't watch a lot of TV, so I would rather hear what your opinions are. What show do you think uses the medium best? Don't just tell me what your favorite show is, really think about how it uses the medium and what it does better or at least differently from other shows. But I do suspect that maximizing the TV medium is harder to do than most realize. I think it's important to know where you end up and have a good vision for how each season will play out. But this raises two problems. Number one, you have to accept that your story will end after the amount of seasons the show can carry. Bearing in mind, a lot of platforms won't want their golden goose to end, so they'll do everything they can to pad the series out, risking the destruction of the show's good reputation. And number two, it needs to play to the strengths of the medium. If you have a great idea for a character arc, can you really not achieve it in any other medium, like a movie for example? The way art or works of entertainment use their medium doesn't necessarily determine their quality, but it does do a lot of heavy lifting. We can see the quality of our shows, comics, games, and movies go up as we iterate on what came before and build new technologies and ideas from nothing. But the issue is, only we can do that. With new technology comes new innovations. Film didn't always have sound. TV didn't always have color. Video games were once a few pixels on an otherwise black screen. So as technology catches up with our imaginations, we can do more, push further, and make things that artists that came before us could never dream of. But here's the issue. Technology has made a heel turn against art. Where new technology was intimidating, it is now entirely regressive. I am, of course, talking about AI. We won't have any new innovations from AI. No new stories, no new techniques. And I know that for a fact because AI can only use and learn from what already exists. An argument that I hear often is that AI learns the same way we do. We see ideas from other artists, we learn from them, and use those ideas ourselves. But I think that is a false equivalence. An artist will try to replicate something that left them in awe, something that made an impact on them, and they'll use it because they know exactly how it will serve their work. AI replicates these things because that's the only thing it can do. An artist being inspired is not the same as a machine plagiarizing. Luckily, our magic is pretty much limitless. As long as we are able to form thoughts for ourselves, we can hold on to the power of storytelling. We will continue to develop our mediums, and our sacred magic will never run out. So here's what I think we need to change to improve the quality and impact of art moving forward. First of all, the people who want AI to succeed are the money people, not the art people. So it's up to us, the living, breathing, feeling human beings, to keep making art when the money people don't want us to. But there is another element to it. We need spaces for this art. We need to pull it away from the hands of these greedy people who see the effort of artists as exploitable and give it back to ourselves. We need local, cheaply run, possibly even temporary cinemas around the world to host local films. A panel of managers can give the film a rating and screen feature films alongside short films. As long as we make art for art's sake, we will win. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to take your phone. I don't care if the camera can only do 480p. I want you to film something. Just a little scene, two people talking, someone fighting someone, and just trying to figure out the dynamics of how that works. If you aren't someone who makes movies, try it and see what happens. If you don't usually draw, fill a page with faces, but don't use references, just make it up. See how good it feels to actually create with your hands. AI is just a novelty that produces inhuman crap. We need to show people how good it feels to just create something without financial incentive, without needing it to be perfect. Just make something. I already make videos, badly, and draw, badly, so I'd like to start this off by possibly embarrassing myself. I'm going to learn something on an instrument, just to try to improve that skill, so I can hopefully make some music of my own one day. Whatever I learn to play will play over the end of the video, and just know that as you hear it, that it isn't perfect, and the process of learning may have been frustrating, but the fact that I'm the one doing it makes it fun. So go out there and play with mediums, everybody. Go crazy, have fun, go! Oh, wait. Also, just like and subscribe and tell me what you think the best show is, and maybe I'll make another video like this about other mediums. Bye-bye.